Hi, Honor and Freeside. I don't know if it's Honor or Honor. Oh. How are you guys? I saw some really tough takedowns in Chicago today. That was awful. Awful, awful. Didn't see anything too bad in LA. And yeah, not yet, right? But with the curfew coming, who knows what's going to happen later. I am going to go ahead and play Governor Newsom's address because he covered all points and was really well done. And, you know, my topic is the wide heart, the compass of the heart. We can, right, through ebbs and flows, we can decide if we want to have compassion for someone or just rip them from their jobs and their families, period. And I don't see, sorry, I'm always messing with my hair when I see it in this thing. I don't see a lot of compassion. I see some, but not enough. So I'm going to play this now once I find it. Thanks, you guys, for being here. And oh, good grief. And also prayers to the 10 people that lost their lives in Austria today by a shooter who was a former student who then killed himself in Graz, Austria. Just in case you didn't hear about it. And I heard shots and some footage and screams, and it's just really sad. And apparently out of all of Europe, they, the president or whoever said that they have higher gun or higher pew pews than anywhere else in Europe. But school shootings, pretty much unheard of. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. I hope my sound is okay. Oh, fiddlesticks. I just had it too. Good grief. Okay, I got it back. So here we go. This was live today, June 10th, 2025, by Governor Newsom. And I don't want to get in trouble. So the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So at least I said that. And that goes for the book that I'll be reading out of today too. Okay, so I am going to play this. Okay, so I thought this was going to be a little video, and now, like, I'm not seeing what's going on. Is this it? Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is happening. Let's see if this will be live. Oh, gosh. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Hi, AK-47. Aw, I hope you're doing well, too. I'm trying to find the actual video, so I don't need to read. On what? Governor Trump, Jesus. Governor Newsom said today. And of course, I'm not really able to find it. Watch live. Delivers address. Okay, is this it? Oh boy. Normally I can just pull stuff up. There it is.
He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases, quite literally, are vanishing. He's delegitimized, exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness at risk. That's when the downward spiral began. He doubled down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder.
It's not even
he did it at risk.
Starting in the
That's
beginning.
when the downward spiral began.
It's not even the beginning. Oh, good grief, you guys. This is just not good. Let's see if this one works. Okay. Found it.
Trump and his loyalists, they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th? Ask everyone. Take time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault on American traditions. This is a president who in just over 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud. He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases, quite literally, are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations, and he's assaulting the First Amendment. And the threat of defunding them, at threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's targeting law firms and the judicial branch that are the foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason than to, in his own words, for getting elected. And we all know this Saturday, he's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday, just as other failed dictators have done in the past. Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. Donald Trump sought authority to come near the National Guard. The National Guard made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about all of us. This is about you. Is about you. California may be first, clearly, but we're not.
What on earth? What on earth?
I want to go in and listen to Governor Gavin Newsom.
What's happening right now is very different than anything we've seen before. On Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked
This
van
is the
near a Home
beginning.
Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people, a deliberate targeting of a heavily Latino suburb. A similar scene played out when a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken, families separated, friends quite literally disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest. We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement. But this, again, was different. What then ensued was the use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began. He doubled down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose. As the news spread throughout LA, anxiety for family and friends ramped up. Protests started again. By night, several dozen lawbreakers became violent and destructive. They vandalized property. They tried to assault police officers. Many of you have seen the video clips of cars burning on cable news. If you incite violence, I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account. That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated. Full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested, and we're reviewing tapes to build additional cases, and people will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Again, thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown. But that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement. We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces. Not in LA, not in California, not anywhere. We're seeing unmarked cars in school parking lots, kids afraid of attending their own graduation. Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses. That's just weakness masquerading as strength. Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts. Just yesterday, we filed a legal challenge to Donald Trump's reckless deployment of American troops to a major American city. Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles. If some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves, but they do not stop there. Trump and his loyalists, they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th? Ask everyone. Take time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault on American traditions. This is a president who in just over 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud. He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases quite literally are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations, and he's assaulting the First Amendment. And the threat of defunding them, at threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's targeting law firms and the judicial branch, the foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason than to, in his own words, for getting elected. And we all know this Saturday, he's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday, just as other failed dictators have done in the past. Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, he said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen. At this moment, we all need to stand up and be held to account, a higher level of accountability. If you exercise your First Amendment rights, please do it peacefully. I know many of you are feeling deep anxiety, stress, and fear, but I want you to know that you are the antidote to that fear and that anxiety. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to him.
That was a blistering speech there from the California governor, Gavin Newsom, responding after days of back and forth between his state and Los Angeles specifically and the White House and President Trump, including comments that the president has made saying that if he was his border czar, he would have Governor Newsom arrested, something that the governor there invoked as he was essentially referencing not only what we've been seeing play out in Los Angeles, which he was plenty critical of, including Trump bypassing the governor there to deploy the National Guard, also sending hundreds of Marines to Los Angeles. He also invoked the fact that he had implied having him arrested, the president's upcoming military parade that he's having here in Washington, his fight with Harvard, and he warned other states in that speech that, quote, other states are next. He said that Donald Trump is not opposed to lawlessness, and he invoked what happened on January 6th. He also addressed what we've been seeing play out over the last several nights in Los Angeles and condemned the violence and the vandalism. He pointed to the hundreds of arrests that have played out so far already in that city and said that they are working through video and compiling additional cases, as he thanked the Los Angeles Police Department for the work that it's done so far and said it was needless to have the National Guard also deployed there. Those were notable comments coming from the governor after a vicious back and forth between President Trump and Governor Newsom, as he has repeatedly criticized the job that Newsom has done and said if it was not for him sending in the National Guard, that Los Angeles would be burning to the ground. I want to bring in CNN's Priscilla Alvarez back here with me, also our chief and law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller. But Scott Jennings and Kate Bedingfield, I want to start with you because, Kate, obviously, to hear what we just did from Governor Newsom, he went far beyond just what has been happening in terms of Los Angeles and the protests there and how the president and the White House have responded. I mean, he has essentially was attacking everything that has happened over the last several months that Donald Trump has been in office. He said the moment that we feared has arrived.
Yeah, I think he's using this moment to channel some of the energy that a faction of the Democratic base wants to see from Democratic leaders. I think this is the kind of thing that people who feel frustrated that the Democrats are not taking on Trump more directly, this is exactly the kind of thing they want to see.
I didn't know it was going to end right there. Okay, so I'll look at your comments. Okay. I'm not going to read any negative ones out loud. I'm just not going to. But it was good to see you, Donna. Hi, Leanie. Somebody said you went off or something on your live the other night, and I'm not sure what you're upset about because you're a Republican. So I'm just not sure what you're upset about. I've been wondering this for a couple of days. Yeah. And that's fine, Donna. You don't have to be here. None of us, I mean, this is what makes America, right? We don't all agree. We're from all different nationalities. And it's just pretty darn sad, though, if you're an older man or woman, whether you're older or not, and you've been in LA as an immigrant, you're just snatched off the streets now and taken from family. One lady spoke and said she didn't show her face. She was too afraid. She just had twins 7 months ago, and then she has two other children, and her husband was detained and will probably be deported. And her children, cry and are really upset. So, as far as what is due process, I'm not sure. I mean, if Trump doesn't know what due process is, then how are we supposed to know? Okay, what is due process? Is it just taking people who's, like Newsom said, the assumption that they might, without even a warrant, just arresting people at their jobs, at the schools, off the street? I'm not, I would think due process would be getting them some kind of lawyer right away or something. But I hear they're just sitting in jails and detention centers. That's what I've seen on the news. And I'm here to say that Live Now Fox, not Fox News, Live Now Fox is a very, they don't comment on what they think. They're not even allowed. And Andrew Kraft said that. He asks questions from both sides and they allow both sides. And that's what I watch. I haven't seen CNN in ages, even though that was just CNN. For some reason, that was like the only entire 10-minute speech of Governor Newsom's I could pull up. But I just think that Trump is not, he's just not kind. He's the kind of person that I want to like. Like he loves to talk and he acts like he's very transparent, right? Reporters will be asking a question. I notice many times he interrupts them as soon as he has a thought. He doesn't even let them finish their sentence. But I also know with his own admission that he admitted to before when he was running is that he will lie. You can lie. Maybe he didn't say he will lie. He said you can lie. And if you lie enough, people will believe you. Why would he say that? I don't know. Yeah. And I agree, Lainey. The violence and if you saw my live last night, destroying property of any kind. And apparently there's been 23 businesses so far. Last night or 2 days ago, it was one, the shoe store. All of that is wrong, and they do need to be arrested and prosecuted. But Newsom was told by Trump that in many cities, the country was told, we are going to get the felons and the criminals out of your cities. No, they're getting every single person they want to that isn't documented, that kind of thing. So he wasn't transparent, he wasn't honest, and that really bothers me because this is a thing. I'm going to say it again. We can all sit here and act like, oh, but guess what? We were born in America. And even if we weren't, I think, Leni, you were born in Germany, right? But if your family hadn't come over here in the correct fashion and they were illegal, you would be possibly illegal too until you made yourself legal when you were 18. But it's so easy for all of us US born citizens to sit by and go, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. You know, I mean, that woman just had 2 babies. She probably doesn't have a job. What if she can't find anyone to watch her 4 kids to be able to go to work and feed her babies? And it's really horrible. And I pulled up the Project 2025 and that was just a nightmare. So, but yeah, you know, so that's the thing, you know, I just think it's important for us to have compassion, and put ourselves in other people's shoes. And this is where the anger is coming from. You know, some of it. No, we don't know, but I highly doubt a seamstress or someone working at a hotel that has a family isn't some wanted felon. Do you know what I mean, Leni? No, I'm not saying wait till a crime is committed. I'm saying go after the ones that are there now. And somehow, I mean, there's crime everywhere. I mean, 10 people were shot in Graz, Austria today. Nobody knew that guy was going to do that. So why, you know, and honestly, this is going to hurt the entire country, what's happening in California, because they are the biggest agricultural system, or whatever the word is, for many things that we all have and eat and need. And there will be less. I don't know. I don't know about their borders. I don't know, Leni. Do they have closed borders? I don't know. Do I completely agree with all those borders being open all that time to let just anybody in when Biden was president? I really don't think so. But also, just like the lady said, another lady said, who didn't want to show her face, her friend was taken. She doesn't know where. Some of them aren't allowed a phone call for days. Things are going to start getting, places are going to get overcrowded. There are children that are being taken. I believe Newsom. I don't think he would just say that if there wasn't at least one case, and I've heard it before. And apparently starting tonight on Tuesday, tonight, there's graduations. And thankfully, there'll be school security around these places so people can graduate. But I can't imagine living there and being an immigrant. I don't honestly know if I'd want to graduate, because what, they graduate and then what? They go to work somewhere someday and get arrested. There was another family. The mother couldn't speak Spanish at all. Her and the father was getting his papers in 2 weeks. I wish they hadn't shown his face, and I wish the daughter had real name wasn't up there. They'll probably try to find him. He knows a little bit of English. The mother didn't know any, and her brother was born in California or LA. He had been there, or no, he wasn't born there. He was brought over when he was 4. And he's been detained, arrested, and everything, and he's scared. She knows he's scared. He doesn't know Mexico. He doesn't have family there. He wouldn't know what to do, she said. And they showed a picture of him, and that's pretty sad. I think he's 25. So, I mean, I'm just going to say this. It just came to my mind. I'm 80% Norwegian. Let's say my family was from Norway, and I came over here and I'm just Norwegian. And for some reason, people were after me, for whatever reason, whoever, because I'm Norwegian. That would suck if I was sent back to Norway. But no, it's Mexico. It's places where the cartel is, and people are frightened. And you do what you can to survive. And yeah, and they're going after all the other cities. So if you guys have friends, any of you, which probably a lot of Republicans don't, I'm thinking, friends that are undocumented, that have, I'm just going to say it, dark skin, brown skin, or they're Latin, they're probably next. And it's just terrible. Oh, God. No, I don't think the police should be being spit on and having, bags with chopped up chunks of cement put in it and thrown over bridges. I've been watching this diligently since day 2, day and into the night, like about midnight sometimes, or 11, and then I'll go to bed and it starts up again in the afternoon. I don't agree with any of that, and blocking highways so people can't get to work and all that. But people that, I mean, you guys, it's like being kidnapped. These unmarked cars are just pulling up. Another lady said these people that went to Home Depot were in just regular clothes, walking around, looking. No, yes, I know Americans are being killed. And that's why we do need the undocumented, the bad people, the felons and the criminals and the people that come over there, out of there. There's always going to be a bad egg somewhere, and to, I mean, he nearly wants some kind of martial law. And I saw Elon Musk, and so did many others, and he tried to poo-poo it down. He did the Nazi thing. He did it. I'm glad they're fighting. I'm actually glad they're fighting. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to find the bad. How do we find the bad in Iowa? Okay. How do we find the bad in Kansas? How do we find the bad in Florida? I mean, I guess they're protesting in Texas now, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Chicago, DC, of course. Different, it's not just LA, different parts of California. This is about a quota, not safety. Hello, XU1. Wait for the crime. No, but I mean, you can't just like walk up to people and just arrest them. I mean, really, with hardly no proof. So many people, if there's such bad people, like the professor that was locked away for a couple of weeks, why did they let him go? Because he's not a bad person. He's not a felon. He was a professor. Do you know what I mean? So, hello, Sherry. So, you guys, it's not about, me trying to convince anyone and all this and that. I'm so thankful that I don't live in California. I'm white. I'm going to say this. And I'm not an immigrant. I'm thankful for that because I don't have to worry. I have enough concerns and worries in my life. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm white. My skin isn't brown or black. I'm Caucasian. That's what I put on all my papers. When you go to the dentist or the doctor, you've got to fill out the things. Well, they want us to here anyway, but that's so they can get funding for, some of the other. But I did order, it's called a gooseneck tablet holder on my bike. And I'm extremely, extremely excited about that because I can film while I'm riding my bike, you guys. So yeah. Yeah. See, I don't understand that. It's like Leanie's like, oh my God, I'm out by y'all. I don't talk like that. And I don't have an attitude like that. You know why? Because I'm Democrat. It seems like so many Republicans, that irritates me seeing that. So many Republicans get so mad, so fired up. My ex is the same way. Oh, I will not talk politics with her. But behind the scenes, he's trying to convince Parker of freaking everything out there and every little conspiracy too. Why is it that Republicans get so pissed off? I mean, really, I went through this with Monique before she moved to Wenatchee. She's all against abortion, but yet she had one herself. And I told her that. I said, I'm not for it, but I'm for, women's rights, pro-choice. Well, you can't be like that. Well, then you're not a Christian. That's actually what she told me. And I was just like, and this was years ago. And then she moved, closer to her family and all that. But that put a rift in our relationship for 2.5 years because she was telling me I'm not a Christian because I'm pro-choice. And then, but yet she had an abortion too when she was younger. I mean, it's just so, I just don't understand it. No, I'm not comparing you to your ex. I said Republicans get so angry and uptight when people don't agree with them. It's like, why? I don't care if you guys agree with me or not. I don't care. Now, again, if I was like in California right now and all worried about my family, I'd probably be crying right now and maybe even screaming into this thing. I don't care how other people vote or feel or if they believe in God or not. I don't. We all have our own beliefs, but why be angry about it? Why can't I express what I feel on my own channel? I'm sure you express what you want to feel, Lainey. I mean, thank you, Kelly. Yeah, hi, Genevieve Kelly. Did I vote? Heck yeah. Of course I voted. I never voted, though, until the whole Obama thing started and I was married. And then I bothered. So I don't know, like, this is why when I've had Sherry up on my panel before, we don't talk about politics, but we did once, I think. And then once I was up on your panel, and I was the only one on your panel out of 6 or 4 people that was a Democrat, basically. And I'm not saying I was being attacked, but people were so, oh, you're so wrong. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying you guys are wrong for your opinion. Okay, I honestly think a lot of Republicans out there, including my ex, is embarrassed that they either possibly voted for this person because, like, we don't need a dictator. We need a president. And that's just my feeling about it. Hi, Aussie True Crime. All right, so I'm going to read the next chapter, The Compass of the Heart, Intention and Karma. And I'm going to do what I usually do. Just turn off my camera. And read what I outlined. It's from a book called The Wise Heart. And yeah, thanks, Kelly. Exactly. We all deserve to have our own opinions with respect. That's what's wrong with this place. Trump is one dangerous man. Yeah, he's crazy. Barbara Smith, no way am I embarrassed. Well, that's good. I didn't say you were. I said I think my ex is. He's on SSI right now. And I said, hey, don't be surprised if that's not taken from you. But now this is the thing. He's older. I think they're going to mostly go after people who aren't older and take it from them and things like that. So, okay. So, what does karma really mean? Karma describes the law of cause and effect. What we sow, we reap. More importantly, karma is the result of our intention. Suppose a man picks up a knife and plunges it into another man's body, causing his death. What kind of karma has he created? The wielder of the knife is a skilled surgeon undertaking a risky procedure to relieve suffering. The karma is positive, even if the patient dies. But the same act done out of anger will produce the painful karma of MURDER. Intention and motivation are the roots of karma. The most effective way to direct our karma is to clarify our motivation and set an intention. When our intention is to live with nobility, respect, and compassion, we act from these intentions. We shape a positive future. When our motivation is rooted in anger, unworthiness, grasping, self-judgment, fear, and depression, and we act from these intentions, we perpetuate these painful patterns. Karma and habit. A good way to begin to understand karma is by observing our habit patterns. When we look at habit and conditioning, we can sense how our brain and consciousness create repeated patterns. If we practice tennis enough, we will anticipate our next hit as soon as the ball leaves the other player's racket. If we practice being angry, the slightest insult will trigger our rage. Be mindful of intention. Intention is the seed that creates our future. Our repeated patterns of thought and action actually change our nervous system. Each time we focus our attention and follow our intentions, our nerves fire. Synapses connect and those neural patterns are strengthened. The neurons literally grow along that direction. What we practice becomes a habit. What may at one time be beneficial can later become a form of imprisonment. Societies can equally repeat destructive habits of racism, hatred, and revenge. Before we act, there is an intention. We can use recognition, acceptance, investigation of suffering, and then non-identification to create, which is also what I've spoke about in the past, stands for RAIN, R-A-I-N. Through mindfulness and non-identification, which basically means we're not who we feel like we are at times. We're not, our thoughts and feelings don't have to define us. And even the things we've done in our life don't have to define our future. So that's what this is about. So through mindfulness and non-identification, we can choose a new intention. We can do this moment by moment, and we can also set long-term intentions to transform our life. Dedication and long-term intention. Long-term intention is called dedication. Setting a long-term intention is like setting the compass of our heart. No matter how rough the storms, how difficult the terrain, even if we have to backtrack around obstacles, our direction is clear. The fruits of dedication are visible in the best of human endeavors. At times, our dedications are practical, to learn to play the piano well, to build a thriving business, to plant and grow a beautiful garden, but there are overarching dedications as well. We might dedicate our life to prayer, commit ourselves to unwavering truthfulness, or go to work for world peace. These overarching dedications set the compass of our life. Regardless of the outer conditions, they give us direction and meaning. It is good to question our own dedication, even if it makes us uncomfortable. To what have we dedicated our life? How deeply do we carry this dedication? Is it time to rededicate our life? But comparing oneself to someone else is useless. We have to be true to our own way. Another important point about dedication, we can't just do it once and forget it. What if our good intentions foolishly ruin a relationship or hurt someone? Good intentions can be mixed with delusion. Then the result will include a measure of good, but the delusion and ignorance involved will also bring suffering. At the worst extreme, good intentions can be mixed with profound delusion. Stalin and Mao Zedong each claimed good intentions, trying to purge the exploitations of their powerful predecessors and to enhance the welfare of the masses. Yet under their deluded intentions, millions were starved or murdered. To be wise, we have to examine our intention to ensure that it is free from delusion. The ends do not justify the means. If our actions will bring harm to others, even in the service of some good, they are almost certainly deluded. If our actions do not come from a kind heart, from loving courage and compassion, they are deluded. If they are based on a distinction between us and them, they stem from delusion. Only to the extent that we act from the wisdom of no separation, understanding how we are woven together, will our intention bring benefit. Support for our intentions, even our wisest intentions, need support. As social beings, we are continually affected by those around us. One of the ways it does so is by distinguishing two forms of response: prompted and unprompted. Without a well-developed mindfulness, we are at the mercy of these promptings. We can easily lose our dedication, even though benevolent states are innate to the heart. We forget. We must practice wise speech, non-contentiousness, generosity, and compassion over and over again in trivial and important situations alike. Understanding how our states of mind are easily prompted by others, we can also see the importance of spiritual friendships. Whether in meditation communities, churches, groups, psychotherapy, or AA, the help we provide for one another is critical. No matter what our intentions, we all need help from others around us as mirrors. Sometimes we need prompting in the form of fierce critical support from our AA sponsor or the honest feedback of our friends when we go astray. We also need the prompting of those who can see our goodness and who can speak with wisdom and courage to our good heart. When negative prompting from others reinforces our sense of failure, we shrink. We see this in the ways that racism and lack of opportunity have affected young men and women of color in our inner cities. Okay, my colleague, this book is written by Jack Kornfield. My colleague and inspiration in this work is Michael. He's my friend. He goes to jails, juvenile halls, and troubled schools and asks to work with the most difficult kids. He works with gang members and teens. He inspires them with hard-hitting poems and ancient stories of heroes who rose out of the worst tragedy. He tells them to make their sorrows into art. Michael invites these youths to write honest, self-respecting poetry. Later, when the words are read, many of them are heartbreaking. Things like, "You expect us to fail, teach us to fail. If you keep walking away and won't stand by us in our mistakes, who's the child here?" These guarded young men and women are invited to read their stories out loud, horrific survival tales of abuse and abandonment, poverty and violence are read as works of art to their astonished teachers and probation officers. As their voices are heard and their pain is acknowledged, they start to value themselves and their experience in a more respectful way. They become more honest and closer to each other, and they start to see that they have something to say, something to contribute to the community around them. Their inherent seeds of goodness become watered and start to grow. clarifying moment-to-moment intention. Planting seeds for the long term is one important way to direct our lives. But we also have to understand how karma and intention operate behind the smallest of our actions. This is the moment-to-moment level of karma. Betrayed friends, estranged family members, auto accidents, a harsh and demanding boss. These are painful results. Year-end bonus pay, loving letters from our children, a joyful holiday, creative success. These are pleasant results. Sometimes we can see how our past actions and choices have contributed to these conditions, but whether or not the causes are clear, we are receiving a result from the past. What matters now is how we respond. Because experience happens so quickly, habitual responses can come out of our mouth or from our hands before we know it. It helps to practice skillful responses when things are easy. That way, when things are tough, our pattern is already set. It also helps to train ourselves to pause before our response. Without a pause, our actions are automatic. In a moment of stopping, we break between past result and automatic reaction. When we pause, we can notice the actual experience, the pain or pleasure, fear or excitement. In the stillness, before our habits arise, we become free. In this pause, we can examine our intention. If we have set a long-term intention or dedication for our life, we can remember our vows, or we can simply check our motivation. Are we trying to get even, win at any cost, or do we want to act out of respect for ourselves and others, to sow seeds of understanding and courage? It is in our hands. The power of intention is most easily visible in our speech. In conversation, we get immediate feedback, and often the response we get will reflect our intention. Before we speak, we can examine our motivation. Is our motivation one of compassion and concern for everyone, or do we want to be right? Clarifying our intention is critical in times of difficulty, when there's difference or conflict. Do we genuinely want to hear about the concerns of the other? Are we open to learn, to see? Okay, try this in your next argument or conflict. Take a pause, hold everyone's struggle in compassion. Connect with your highest intention. Whenever things get difficult, pause before you speak and sense your wisest motivation. From there, it will all flow better. This is the secret of wise speech. Speak with kindly motivation. Speak what is true and helpful. Speak in due season and to the benefit of all. When we connect with our highest intention, we learn to see with eyes of compassion, and everything becomes more workable. Setting the heart's compass. First, we need to set our compass on a course of compassion. We start with the results of our past karma, but the canvas is incomplete. Now we can add to it. We can step out of unconscious habit, connect with our wise heart, and freely choose a new response. No matter what the situation, we are offered the freedom to choose our highest intention, to choose to be free. When we understand karma and intention, we are given the opportunity to set the compass of our heart and dedicate ourselves to the highest intention. This is what will transform our world. Okay, so there's a little practice here for anybody that would like to ever try it or think about trying it. Pick a situation of difficulty or conflict with others. Reflect on your last encounters and on the motivation from which you operated. How did this work? Now imagine you can bring the highest possible intentions to your next encounter. Take a moment to reflect. What would they be? Notice if they contain the elements of compassion for others and for yourself. Notice if they are wise and courageous. Picture re-entering the difficult situation while staying true to these highest intentions. Finally, go and practice. Remember, you may lose track of these intentions. With practice, they will become steady and strong. So the next time, the chapter of mindfulness here, the wise heart, is sacred vision. And in all honesty, it's like since having a stroke and then a heart attack, I don't have to always be right. I don't even have to be heard. Like, you know what I mean? Like if people don't even want to hear me, that's okay. I don't have to react to everything anymore. I don't, the wonderful thing is I don't feel like I have to or need to. I mean, there were so many times I wanted to send an email or even a text back, even sticking up for my son, and I didn't do it. So I know I have, I'm able to pause and not do anything or try to do maybe the right thing. And in my case, a lot of times it's nothing. It's doing nothing. It's no response. It's not letting my guard down. It's not just acting like nothing's happened in the past. Boundaries are really, really important. And honestly, that's the only way I'm partially going to be able to stay stress-free. Now, before I ended my live last night, I noticed Mary Jane Doe said, I thought you weren't going to talk about stressful things. Well, what I meant by that, because I've always watched the news, is true crime and, you know, all these court cases coming up and happening. And all of that is just, it's for someone else. It's not for me anymore. And I just, there's enough fear mongering out there being done already by all types of people. But, you know, also, I'm only 2 states away from California. I'm way the heck clear over here, while a lot of you other people are down south and on the East Coast and in the Midwest. Kelly, apparently, like you said, you're in Seattle. So, you know, you have to remember how you're maybe possibly brought up. I was brought up as a Democrat. My dad believed in McGovern and all that in the 60s or 70s back then. But then he became a Republican later on, and I'm not sure why, and I never really asked. And he would not speak about politics with me, ever. But again, I'm not here to try to convince people. If people are, I mean, I heard that some of those cops are immigrants themselves. They're just not undocumented. And a lot of them, that's why they had the masks on. They did not want to be seen. A lot of them now, for some reason, have taken off the black mask things, even ICE. And a lot of those ICE men and women, mostly men that I see, are former military. So Yeah, I mean, and so, hi, Meg Smith. Hello. So I mean, it just seems like the overreach that many people say that Trump has done and is doing is out of control. It's out of control. I mean, he's attacking universities, you guys. He's it's just too much. It's just too much. Um, Not letting certain people go to colleges, like that's just downright weird. Um, the one thing, and people may be shocked to hear me say it, but I am not for, I mean, I hope I don't regret saying this, but I'm really not for trans people, kids, I mean, to be in these bathrooms. I even talked to like in high school, I said, well, Shaylin, if you knew this person was really a man, even though all the parts are there as a woman and all this, but it's a man, would you feel comfortable undressing and taking a shower and doing whatever after track or something? And she said no. And I said, well, I mean, to me, there needs to be some kind of boundaries. I also, I heard it was like age 8 or something. In some states, as young as 8, where you can decide if you want to completely be trans and have all the surgical procedures done. Like that's just, I mean, their brains aren't even developed yet. So, when Trump was there and all those, track and volleyball and all those women were behind him, those young women and young girls, I was kind of happy for him, because also it doesn't seem that fair if somebody, to me, is really a man, even though they're changing or have changed into a woman, the strength and the capabilities of jumping farther and doing all these things, of course, they're going to keep winning. And is that fair to someone else that's in college or high school? I don't really think it is. But in every other aspect, I'm for the rights of LBGTQ. There's probably more letters added to it. Yeah. Trans people should be given their own bathrooms. That's just common sense and decency, says XU1. Yeah. Hi, MS0426. A lot of former military or police officers. They hire them first. Yeah. So I've been on here an hour and a half, and I thank you for dropping by. Whether it was positive or negative, looking at the glass half full or half empty, that's up to you. If we hear enough of these scary ICE raid stories, hopefully it will strike a chord of real compassion to have these so-called raids either done in a different way, not just plucked off the street or at your job or whatever. At least tell the family where you're being taken to, whatever. Because it's story after story. People are just like Newsom said, friends are disappearing. I don't mean dying necessarily, but they're disappearing. And that would be really scary. I can't imagine. Hey, Tattooed Rebel. So I'm going to go now. It's been an hour and a half. And yeah. So thanks for being here. Please hit the like. Please subscribe if you're willing to. And I'm not going to play my outro song because there's just too much sadness in my heart for these immigrants, whether they're illegal or not. They have families, children, and thought they had livelihoods, and they're being stripped of all of that, including their dignity. Okay. Good night, you guys. I'll play one more song on here going out.